Regional Property Unplugged for this fine Tuesday that's a little bit cool. So we decided to bring it inside today. Today we're talking about, is it time to update your home? It's always time to update your home.
I reckon.
In my opinion. But in saying that, there is some strategies and techniques that you can use. I'm going to give you a few tips today because even if you are presenting to sell or you just want to update it, these tips will work both ways. So for either situation. So we always say a lick of paint does the job, but it's not as easy as that. We have to consider all the elements of your home. So when you're choosing a white, so if Mark walks in and says, I reckon it needs an update, let's freshen it up with some white paint, and you go, yep, no worries. Choosing a white paint isn't that simple. So you need to consider the following. You need to consider tiles.
Yep.
Because there can be different colors. You can have whites, off-whites, yellow whites, peachy whites, blue whites. You need to consider your window colors. Like, you know, obviously I've got woodland gray here. But if you've got like a classic cream or something, you need to...
Can throw the whole thing, can't it?
Yeah. So if you
can make it look worse.
Really bad. So if you choose a cool color, if you're liking the grays that are in or... and you've got a classic cream window, that just, oh wow, it just can be so massive mismatch.
Fugly.
So that's the word, fugly. So, you know, you really need to consider that. And if you want to go with the warmers, like the warm colors with the beiges and stuff, if you've got, you know, like woodland gray windows, you need to consider that as well. So there's lots of elements that you need to put together to create a story. And that's what I tell everyone. If you go and get like a canvas and paint the test color, like the color that you've chosen on a canvas, put your tile against it, put your carpet against it, put your window color, if you can, against it, everything that's going to stay there that you're not going to update, put it together to create a story. And if you're starting from scratch even, do that as well, because it just, you know, make sure that you get it all right at the get-go.
Absolutely. No, a lot of people don't know where to start today, like with colours, because like you said before, there's so many different versions of whites. Yeah. You know, it's confusing. It's a killer. For the majority of people. Yeah. And, you know, there's certain people only have that knack to see the different shades of white. That's it. I'm not one of those people. Like to me, it's white. Yeah. I mean, I do, but I don't, you know, and I think it's... I think it's daunting for a lot of people. And so for those people that are out there that are starting this process and, you know, whether it's building a new home or if you're renovating your existing home, it's probably good to get advice from someone that can help match colours. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and even different types of paints. Yeah. You know, like you've got your fascias and your windows. You know, if you're painting your windows high gloss, or, you know, there's all these different examples of how things will end up finishing, like how it will end up looking, I guess. That's right, exactly. And it's really hard to choose paint, especially paint. Yeah. In a like in the paint shop, they've got fluorescent lights. It's sometimes not a true indication of what the color is actually, what it actually is. So it's really cool if you are choosing from swatches to put it in, like if it's an exterior color, for example, take it outside and put it outside, because that gives you a true indication. And if it's, you know, an internal color, like really put it against, not directly in direct sunlight, but to put it sort of near a window or something that, you know, you can show that, you know, natural light shining on it, because it does change. It changes in every house anyway. Yeah. Like every house is different. Every house has different finishes, perhaps, you know, timber cupboards or something that will throw some orange. So every house is different, and that's why you need to choose maybe 2 or 3, maybe sometimes more options to put it against and see what works better, because you could choose and say, I absolutely love Antique White USA, but it doesn't work in your house. Yeah. So, yeah. What are the popular colours at the moment? What's on trend? Like, I mean, there's different trends at the moment. Timber seems to be in, greys, white on white type scenarios. What are the most popular colours that you're seeing at the moment? Beiges are back. Beiges are coming back. The real earthy tones. How come? You know, there's a lot of, it's really hard with trends. Why would they be coming back? It's really hard with trends, but it's influencers. Yeah.
right? It's the buyers that are in front of the market, you know, like a year ahead. It's the influencers doing their houses, and they're on Instagram, on Pinterest, on Facebook, and you can see, and it's kind of like, yeah, they've just made this style look amazing, and then the products and the trend just follows along. The greys have been around for a while.
Yeah.
They've been like, you know, for, I don't know, over 5 years, and it's a beautiful, beautiful color. And if you still love the greys, by all means, go ahead. But yeah, if you're sort of thinking that it's a little bit overdone for you guys, like, you just, you know, go with the beiges. The beiges are cool. And if you are setting yourself up to your home to sell, it's a cool idea to get, you know, those
try
colors
something
in.
different.
Yeah, try something different.
Bit risky, can it be?
No, I tell you what is risky. Risky is when you choose
Yesterday's colour.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I mean, you can update it with how you decorate, with what you put in there, like as far as your bedding, your couches, your cushions, all the accents, you know, your art. So you can update any colours really in that regard. But what's risky is putting in colours that you might love, like a pink wall in a bedroom, but not necessarily like, you know.
With the open market, not.
Absolutely.
So there's two different types of styles. It's you go to market type, neutral scenario. And then it's, if you're doing a house, you know you're going to be there for quite some time, you can choose whatever you want, right?
Absolutely. Live for now, you know. And a lot of people say, oh, don't do that, especially if it's a home that you're not going to sell. It's a forever home, or maybe for 10 years. It's like, live for now. Don't worry about when people say, oh, you know, just worry about when you're going to put it on the market, or it won't sell if you do this, if you do that. It's just like, no, don't worry about it, because things are going to change anyway.
Yeah.
You know, if you're thinking like long term, they're going to be there. You're probably in 10, 15 years time going to renovate anyway.
Probably. And I've spoken to a few people recently that have had trouble finding that house to get to. So they've actually gone, you know what, we'll actually, you know, put that on hold. We'll spend the money, that potentially stamp duty and agents fees that they've probably, you know, would have had to have paid. Yeah. And then put that into a renovation. So there's cool. There's so many of that. There's a lot of that happening, but there's definitely, I think if you're looking to update your current home, you can choose whatever you want, right?
Absolutely.
Go your hardest and do something a bit more bold. But if you are painting or looking to decorate or update or do those finishing touches before you go to the market, we always say go neutral, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Go neutral, and then you can jazz it up, you know, with your accents, like I said before, and how you decorate it, artwork.
Pillows.
Yeah, pillows. Yeah. And if you feel like you've got a clinical home when everything's not there, like when we take away our things, like our clutter and our things, it looks a little bit sterile, you can easily warm it up with, you know, things like baskets, timber. That can warm up like a really white room or a grey room that feels a little bit cold. So there is some comments that I get from clients. I've got clients in Melbourne and in Canberra at the moment that are really wanting to steer away from that sterile sort of feel, you know, like it's too cold for them. And it's kind of like, well, it's okay if that's what we're going for. Like sometimes we have to go for the grey undertones because that's what the tiles are that are existing that aren't going to be changed. So then that's how we get clever, and we warm it up with those sorts of things, and you know, the colors that you can put in there for your bedding, all that. And it's just easy, like even just putting a chopping board on a bench can warm up a space.
With brownies on it.
With brownies on it, your favourite.
What about cornice and skirting and you know, what shades should we be doing? Because everyone talks, you know, you should have a certain tint to your ceiling, to your walls, to your skirts. Yep. Is there a rule of thumb? Like, what should people be trying to work with? Because, you know, there's so much information out there now that I reckon it's actually hard to get the right information.
Yes. All right, this is a really good point. So a rule of thumb when I was working for one of the major builders is that, and this is a little while ago, but you can still actually do this. So it was 100% on the walls, 150% of that colour on the skirts and arcs, and then 25% of the colour on your ceiling.
But wouldn't you just be going white on the ceiling, or no?
Well, if it was a white, if it was a lighter wall color, sorry, yeah. So the 25% will be near white anyway.
Yeah.
But it would be a white that matches the undertones of the wall. So what that means is you're going to have light, medium, and dark around and your doors, arcs, and skirts. Now it's really on trend to have the same color all the way through. So it would just be different finishes that give it a little bit of a lift. So it would be your wall color on your skirts, doors, and arcs, as well as on your ceiling if it's a light one. If it's something that's, a mid-tone, you're not going to have like a beige everywhere. But that's especially whites if you're doing that. And then you would have like obviously your matte or your low sheen on your ceiling, low sheen on your walls, and then you might want to do a semi-gloss or a gloss on your arc, skirts, and doors just to give it a bit of a lift.
Bit of shine.
Bit of shine, yeah. As well as easy cleaning, like, door, when you get finger marks and stuff. Other than that, you can do a ceiling white, which is Dulux Vivid White. Ceiling white is beautiful on your ceilings always, regardless. And you can do that on your walls. Like, don't be afraid to have really white. But yeah, it's if you can do the same color at this stage of where trends are at, where people are following, I would be doing that, the same color.
So blending everything
Pretty
in.
much, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's and if you've got a small space, that works perfectly. If you've got a really large home, and especially a big living area where you've got lots of doors coming off it, that could be cool to be able to have something, have 150% of the color just for a little bit of, mixing it up a bit.
What's your favorite type of paint? Brand?
I use Dulux a lot.
So Dulux, we're looking for a sponsor.
I have used Solver. I love the colors. The only reason it's not really a better brand. It's just that I've used it a lot, and so I know the colors and I know what it looks like in different homes. So I think it's really just so I'm confident with what I use, and I've used whites in over 200 houses, so I just sort of know that natural white will go in this house but not in this house, or
depending on positioning of the house.
Yep.
Like orientation of the house, etc.
Yep.
So it's a lot to consider.
A lot.
So you can see where people get confused.
Easy to get confused
because you throw the wrong color in there. Like, I've always thought the bluey whites can feel a bit cold.
Yeah.
So if you throw that wrong tint in that house, you can change the whole feel of a house.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, that's a really cool point too. You just reminded me. I did have a client come to me a couple of years ago now and said, help me, because I chose a white and it was Lexicon. I don't know, you probably heard of Lexicon. They're one of the most famous Dulux whites. But when she had put it up on the walls, it looked blue, like pale blue, like baby pale blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really need to be careful with the depths of the whites as well. So, and don't buy the paint and just go, or just choose it with your painter and hope that it goes okay just off a swatch. Every single time I advise like a big piece or a big canvas and paint it on there, take it around your home to every wall in every time of the day, every time of the day, does that make sense? No, at all times of the day, morning, midday, and at night time, so you can see with the lights on, you can see when there's lots of light in your house and when there's not much light in your house, and then that will show you, give you an indication whether it's going to be the right color.
And timber, if you've got a fair bit of timber in your home, that can play havoc.
Yes.
So choosing the right.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it depends on the type. Like, a lot of people are putting timber floors in at the moment.
Yeah. Yep.
So getting that colour right is crucial.
Yeah, so that it really is, because the timbers can throw a yellow or they can throw a red against the white. So something like natural white, you might get it and it looks white. You go, yep, that's white. And then as soon as you put it against those timbers, you can see all peach tones coming through.
I'm so confused.
Are you confused?
No, I'm getting it. I'm hoping they're getting it, because I think that's probably why we're bringing this up, because it is a really sort of daunting process. We've started our renovation at home, and we'll probably continue the same colour white we've got through, but you know, I remember we had like all these different whites painted on the wall and in all different spots.
Yeah.
And because we've got timber ceilings and there was different, everywhere I looked, it looked a bit different. Luckily Sam had more of a vision with the whites than I did. I was like, well, they kind of look the same to me. But I think, and it's hard for everyone that is looking or thinking of starting a build. It's so many big decisions, and if you get one element wrong, whether it's choosing tiles or choosing a splashback color, or even your different types of kitchen covers now, you got high gloss, you got matte finish, and matte finish is in, right? That's big time. So there's so many things to consider.
Absolutely, and you know you really can make a beautiful space on a budget. There's, you know, right now is like the way trends are going. You can choose a $10 like per square meter tile, and it still be as amazing as 100. Like, it's really cool. It's the way you lay it. It's the way you do it. It's what grout you use. It's what you put against, you know, the benches.
That's
and stuff.
another one. Type of grout, colours and
grout is huge. Yes, that's a big thing to consider, because there's lots of different whites and grouts as well, different greys, and how it's going to work in different spaces as well. Like if you've got a small bathroom, you probably don't want the dark grout because it'll close it in.
Yeah.
Lots to consider.
Yeah.
A real lot to consider, but it can be easily done. And if you're ready to present your house for sale, like, you know, put in a plan, you can do it as quick as you can, or you can take as long as you can, whatever it is, whatever it takes to get it done. But it's really getting it right.
When we went around with a client last week,
all
those questions that he was asking, and it was interesting for me because you just bang off the cuff with answers. No, you need to do the fascia that color because it'll da-da-da, and it'll pick up this. And then there was
the tile grout.
There was the tile grout. Then there was actually the pattern in the pavers.
Oh yeah.
Which you know, you were saying, well, the reason we should do it this pattern, I can't remember the reason. Yeah, because of the way, you know, the space and to make it feel smaller or bigger or whatever. So there really is a lot to go through, isn't there? And I guess if you've got a good builder, they're holding your hand through it.
Exactly.
You've got a really good builder and someone that's really helping you through that process. But sometimes you're out on your own with this sort of stuff.
This is a thing, and I think if you do have, like, perhaps someone in your ear that just wants to get the job done and they're saying, no, I can't do that, no, I can't do that, or you really get a second opinion, because sometimes it's just a rush job, what's cheapest, and it's not necessarily the best way to go. So definitely get a second opinion there. But yeah, ask the professionals. It's kind of like, you know, for us girls that we know what we want, we think we know what we want, but we really do need a makeup artist, you know, that's professional. Like when at the wedding the other day, it's just kind of like, how do you do this stuff, you know? And it's like
they do it every day. And
it's the same for a painter. If you've got a painter that's, you know, been doing it every day, like listen to their advice, you know. So get the professionals, and it's only just a phone call to ask just to get it right. So it's really important.
I think if someone's got questions like you know, they're at a point where they're starting that, or they're partway through that building process, and it's decision time, isn't it? Like you have to make a decision on paint. It's a big decision. You don't need to second guess yourself.
Yes.
And I've seen so many times where I've had you through a client's house and they're like, I don't know about this, and it might be as simple as curtains or blinds, or which blinds to choose, or you know, types of or decisions that are made through the renovation or build. And I think they're at ease with when you just go, no, I would do this because of X
the
reason.
Why.
And those decisions are always depending on the type of house. So and I reckon that's why people get a bit confused.
It is confusing.
And they need that that I guess that confidence to make that decision, but that comes with someone else, right? Someone like yourself.
And sometimes it's not a right or wrong decision either. Sometimes it's just like, I just don't know. And overwhelm comes a lot. And if you need to make decisions like in the space of a week and there's lots of decisions, you kind of get tired. Yeah. You get really emotionally tired when you're investing money, and your time. But it's like, if you want someone to go, okay, you've got two options here. let's just go with that one, depending on the scenario, if it's your forever home or if it's to sell. And so, yeah, it's as easy as that, but we just get a little bit stuck on something that we've got to consider or that we have to make a choice on. It's just, it's too hard right now. I'm just overthinking things.
Sometimes it could be just go with your gut.
Yep.
You know, like don't overthink it, like you said. Go with your gut, what you think's right, particularly if you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah.
Don't worry too much about, I don't think people will like it. If you love it, if you're living in the home.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, I see some really creative things in homes, and if you love the way it is, if you love that particular light shade or whatever it is.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But reach out. I think Shonah's the person, you know, to speak to, because it might be just that reassurance you're after. It might be a quick consult that will be, yep, no worries, you're on the right track. I'm choosing this, I'm doing this pattern. Will that clash? Because if you have your different lines going different directions, it can throw a few things out, right? So reassurance, I think, is what most people are looking for.
Absolutely.
Knowing that if they're spending $500,000 or $600,000 on a build, that they're doing it perfect.
Yeah. And it can save you so much money if you need to change it.
And second guessing,
saves you the headache, saves you the overwhelm. And I guess one of the points I wanted to make is to consider, if it is your forever home and you're tossing up between, I don't really like a tile, for instance, that's, that might be $1,000 less than a tile that you really love for the whole lot. It's kind of like, really consider something that you're willing to live with or something that you would love to live with. Really think if you can stretch your budget a little bit more, or you can save on other things.
Yeah.
But choosing things just because it's, it's the only option that you think, but you don't really like it. Just do it. Yes, exactly. You'll kick yourself. Like in 2 years' time, you'll kick yourself. Because it's like, I didn't really like it, and I can guarantee you still won't like it. You can't force yourself to like something. So think about those things.
So reach out. I think that's the main message.
I'm here.
Don't be afraid to send a message through to Shonah and get some cool advice, that reassurance. It might be just that. It might be a really quick consult that it just gives you, all right, well, you're on track, you're doing the right thing. Push ahead. Absolutely. And if you are planning on selling and you want to, give it a makeover, think light. Light on the outside, light on the inside. Yeah. It's a seller. Yeah. Everyone wants light. So next week. Yeah, she's in Cairns. So we're going to give her a little holiday next week, and then we'll push on the week after, hey? Yes. That would be awesome. I was willing to do a live. Yeah, but you're on holidays. Who knows where I am? Who knows where I'll be coming? All right. Well, so next week we won't have a show on, but hopefully we'll get a guest. Perhaps. Yeah, I reckon we will by then. We tried to get someone this week. If anyone wants to be our guest, let us know. Got something to say? Yeah. Jump on. Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. Enjoy the long weekend. Oh, yeah. Awesome stuff. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.